Stop losing money in this market, trading and investing impatiently. Stop looking at price, look at the data. We're breaking down a core fundamental principle that will help you navigate this market. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Discover Crypto. My name's Kelly Kellum here with the BitLab, but we're breaking down a core fundamental that everybody, no matter where you're at in the crypto ecosystem, needs to know to navigate this market. We're talking about the Bitcoin halving. What is the Bitcoin halving and how can it affect my investment and trade decisions? First things first, if you've ever heard of this, stick around because we're going to be breaking down several charts that help you identify the roadmap to give you those ideas about where good accumulation zones are, where you should be likely buying, scaling in to be prepared for the next parabolic run, and where you can likely start taking some profits off the table. It's all in the charts. It's all in the data. So what is the Bitcoin halving? Well, the halving is essentially mining rewards that get halved every 4 years, or roughly 3 years and 10 months. Every 210,000 blocks, the halving occurs. Now, because blocks get confirmed roughly every 10 minutes, it extrapolates out to about 3 years and 10 months, 3 years and 11 months, depending on the congestion on the network and different factors. So we call it a 4-year cycle. And understanding where we're at in the market cycle helps determine what type of strategy you should be taking to really dominate and navigate this market profitably. Now, why do we have the halving though? What is it? Well, if we look to this chart right here, $1's worth, we can see that this is an absolute demolished chart of bearishness. This is the value of your dollar. Whether or not you're in the US or anywhere else in the world, this is the story of fiat currencies for the history of humanity, for the history of currency, the devaluation of that currency through inflation. Now, does Bitcoin have inflation? It absolutely does. But you know what's different? Satoshi Nakamoto, whoever he, she, or they were, we can see they programmed in a known supply schedule, a known inflation schedule. We can see with this chart right here, back in early 2009, miners were getting 50 Bitcoin per block mined. Here we can see, and starting in 2012, this cut in half down to 25. And then it cut in half again down to 12 and a half. And then it halved yet again to where we're at currently at about 6.25 Bitcoin per block mined. All the miners on the network, they're all agreeing on all the transactions in each block. And they say, okay, yeah, that's good. And they compete to solve a very difficult cryptographic problem. And whoever wins that basically gets the mining reward for mining that block. This keeps the entire Bitcoin network secure. It keeps it transparent. It's what gives the intrinsic value truly to Bitcoin. So how can we utilize this programmed schedule of inflation that's reducing by half every 210,000 blocks, or every 4 years, the 4-year cycle? Well, we can utilize it by understanding that there has been a historic trend on how the Bitcoin price has responded to these different periods around the halving. It gives us a schedule for bull markets, bear markets, and periods of accumulation. Those periods of accumulations are really what every one of us should be the most interested in. But you'll see on these charts in a moment, those tend to be the hardest times to make the decision to buy, because so many FUD stories out there, so many people are saying, oh, is Bitcoin dead? Well, all of you, all of us that are looking at this 4-year cycle, when everybody else is scared, we get prepared. That's what we're doing here. So let's go ahead and break this down. So let's break down some context, and then we're going to go through some charts and see how on schedule this is. Well, we've had massive rallies around each halving, post-halving. We've never looked back to the prices Bitcoin was when the last halving occurred. We also see that the digital scarcity, that we're having a reduction in the amount of new supply, showing that we have digital scarcity. We have the most coveted thing in an asset, meaning that you understand what the supply ratio is going to be. You don't have to worry about new asset being flooded on the market, like the US dollar, with all this out of control money printing that we're seeing here in Canada and the UK and Argentina and everywhere in the world. Roman Empire, you know what's been on my mind? Roman Empire. This is exactly what this is all about, the devaluation of currency and the halving cycle on Bitcoin that fixes it, also knowing what our absolute total supply can ever be, 21 million. This all goes towards having a stronger asset each cycle. So the halving cycles are also on a 4-year basis, which happen to line up with the election cycles here in the US, which also helps drive the economy and drives the market. And Bitcoin does well when there's a lot of capital in the market. So this is a benefit to us. Then we also see institutional adoption. Every halving event has historically brought rising mainstream interest and institutional engagement. We all are aware of the BlackRock spot ETF on the horizon, and Grayscale and Invesco and Bitwise and 21 Shares. There's so much on the horizon in addition to the halving that's coming up here. And if you're watching this later, there's always going to be a halving coming up all the way until about 2130 or 2140 when the last Bitcoin is mined. So let's talk about this one more step here. Unlike the monetary policy of state-issued currencies, which unfolds through political processes and human institutions, Bitcoin's monetary policy is written into code shared across the network. This means everybody's agreeing on it and it's programmed into how things operate. Where central banks, all of our money, this printed fake money that all of us use the world over, central banks control the money supply. In stark contrast to Bitcoin's halving block reward, the supply of the dollar has roughly tripled since 2000. So they're printing out of control. We're reducing on schedule. That's what I'm talking about. So how does this look on the chart? Well, here's a Bitcoin chart. There's nothing that we can relate to this. There's no map. Well, let's go ahead and see where these halvings are. The halvings are right here. Boom. 1, 2, 3 so far, and we can see how things have performed post-halving. What I want you to really notice here when we're looking at this is where these halvings are and what the price action is doing around these zones and then post-halving. What we see each time we have a halving, we get a small period of accumulation and then a parabolic uptrend. Small period of accumulation, parabolic uptrend. Much smaller period of accumulation. We had a lot of accumulation before the halving here, and then strong parabolic uptrend. So we can utilize this and understand that there's a schedule for when these parabolic uptrends likely are going to start, and a somewhat of a time frame in which these play out. So this is about 58 bars. Okay, let's see what this one is right here. This one is roughly 74 bars, and then this next one, this is from the halving to the market top. And we can do this on this top or this top, depending on which one you want to utilize as a market top, because there was a little bit of manipulation in here with the Chinese mining ban. But the point being is we have roughly about a little over a year and a half in which we have strong bullish price action post-halving. And as the market gets larger and there's more monetary energy, AKA more people, more adopters, a higher market cap, more money in the system, this will likely, coming into this next halving, this is my projected line here, roughly about April 15th, this will likely have some sort of price action that will come into this, see this at 74, 73. So let's go right in that zone. Let's just do 77. So this gives us an idea. If we start getting very late in this phase here, we're not looking for longs. And similarly, when we're trying to figure out where to buy, the time is before the halving. This is a great time for a conservative entry. Yes, if you want to be that Warren Buffett of crypto, you have to buy when there's blood in the streets. Now, this is not financial advice. This is strategy advice. Identifying these periods of time in the bear market are scary, but understanding that they're programmatically going into another supply cut gives you confidence to identify somewhere in this region to get your entries to prepare for this bull run. Now, depending on what your time horizon is, what your strategy is, what your risk tolerance is, you have to make that determination. And you can utilize many of the other tools like on-chain data, or go through BitLab Academy, understand the whole on-chain data analysis, technical analysis. There's many different things you can do. And if you don't understand some of these things, head over to BitLab Academy, go through our course here. Trading fundamentals, psychology, on-chain analysis, candles, all these things work in concert to help give you the confidence to make sure that you're making the right decisions for your trades. Now, looking here, we understand the cycle that we're on. We can also utilize our other tools in our TA and analysis tool belt to make these smart decisions. So looking at the chart here from NDX, we can see another way to look at this. We have the halving here, another halving here, another halving here. The next one's going to be roughly right here. We see this sort of logarithmic sort of support curve that's coming here, and it is slightly rounding, but what do we see? Higher lows each time. So in the bear market, when it feels like everything's ending, look to the macro, look to the 4-year cycle. If the price is just falling, and for instance here where it felt never ending. I'll admit I felt that too. It felt like it's never going to go, but then I reminded myself, Back to the basics is what you need to do. And what is one of the most basic core elements of Bitcoin? The halving. Zoom out and then look at where the halving cycles are. So as we're approaching into this zone, this territory leading up to the halving, we know that some fireworks are likely going to come as this supply cuts. We get new adopters coming in the space. We see price action start moving up. Then you get the new retail hype cycle buyers. And unfortunately, all of us at one point have been that retail hype cycle buyer, buying at tops. But looking at the halving, we understand that this is a time to start getting cautionary on longs. Then you start looking for your opportunity to exit some of your position if that's your strategy. If you're not a super long-term holder, this is that area, that period of time about 12 to 18 months after the halving has proven each time to be a period of distribution where then the market starts coming back down and resetting. It's as if Satoshi Nakamoto programmed in these hype cycles. It's as if he lined it up with the 4-year election cycle. It's as if he also lined it up with some of the global liquidity cycles. The genius in which the Bitcoin halving is literally drives not only Bitcoin, but Ethereum, Cardano, AVAX. Every digital asset out there follows the lead of Bitcoin for now. But we will see a break in that correlation at some point. But for now, the Bitcoin halving cycle truly runs the crypto asset ecosystem. Now, to really drive this home, we can see with this chart right here, these are 3 different cycles post-halving. This is a halving, and look at where the price action tops are. They're getting a little bit stretched out here. As I said, as the monetary energy, the market caps get larger, we're seeing a slight variation here, but we're seeing the tops line up roughly about the same time period, the number of days post-halving. And then look at these market cycle bottoms, these great areas of accumulation, all in here, all 3 different cycles from the halving date forward. Going back to this chart right here, this is looking at this halving forward, this halving forward, and this halving forward overlaid on top of each other, showing you that there is a schedule here. So in the bear market, don't get upset. Don't feel mad that you're out of position. Now you have this knowledge. Remember it. Even if you had this before, remember this knowledge. Look to these different charts. Coming onto TradingView, if you want these halving dates on here, come up here to the indicators, type in halving, and you see Bitcoin halving events, past dates, either one of those finds, automatically populates them. And you can see how the market has responded. Do your own analysis here. Now, one of the other things I wanted to show you is this spiral chart, and it's a great psychology of a market cycle hodler's cheat sheet. This is another way to look at these cycles. We can see from the genesis of Bitcoin, this is as time progresses, the price action is actually going up as well, which is why it's spinning out. And we can see from the genesis onward, as this moves out, we're getting a lot of all-time highs early on, because the price had never done anything before. So every move up was an all-time high until it retraces down. And then we create a market cycle bottom here. The price moves up, we get the halving, and then there's some time. Everybody wants this all-time high before the halving. But you see, we had the bear market low, and then all of a sudden as this comes up, we get the halving, and then we start getting some all-time highs again, and then we get the bull market top, and it comes all the way back down, bear market cycle, till we get the bear market bottom. This spins out again, and then we get the halving, and then we see some time before we get all-time highs again. Again, you see no all-time highs between the bear market bottom and the halving. And as this comes out again, then we get the ultimate market cycle top. This is this last bear market we just had, comes all the way down to the bear market bottom following the FTX collapse. And we see those people that are telling you these all-time highs are coming before the halving. Is it possible? Absolutely, especially with the ETFs on the horizon. Is it likely? No. I don't think we're going to be breaking all-time highs before the halving. I think we're going to have some really great price action that will trick a lot of people into believing we're going to. And this is going to happen time and time again. They're called bull traps. And then only to reverse. Even if we push up to $60,000 or $65,000 at the halving, I think there will still be a little bit of a retracement into the halving. And then we will really see that explosive price action to the upside. So what I really want you to take away from this video is strategy and confidence in the way Bitcoin is programmed to help you pick the right strategies at the right time within the market cycles. Because after all, the biggest competitor we have in these markets is ourselves. It's our emotions. It's not having strategy. Now, before we go, I just want to say thank you for watching through this video. I hope you enjoy it. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, ding the bell, join us here in the Discover Crypto family. Hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next video.